Okay, we may have some people trickling in because we had almost 90 people sign up to be here today, which is a really good turnout, and another 130 people watching online. So I think we'll go ahead and start and let those who are still on their way join us when they can. My name's Wendy Fenton, and I'm the coordinator of the Humanitarian Practice Network here at ODI. And we're delighted, together with ODI, to be able to host the launch of ELRA's new publication. ELRA being the Enhanced Learning and Research for Humanitarian Assistance organization. They've got have done a study and have a new guide, which is called Effective Academic Humanitarian Collaboration, a practical resource to support academic and humanitarian organizations working together. And there's an accompanying online guide to effective partnerships, which is going to be demonstrated later in the session. Before I hand over to the chair of the meeting today, I'm not chairing. We're very lucky to have Simon Maxwell, the former ODI director, here today as our chair. I just want to let you know that this session will run from about now until 4:30, and then I'd invite you all to stay and join us for drinks and snacks in the kitchen across the hallway. Please bring them into the room after you help yourselves, and we'll have a bit of a networking session and a chat. So, Simon, as I'm sure all of you know, is the former director of ODI. He's a development economist, and he's worked internationally since 1970. He's now the executive chair of the Climate and Development Knowledge Network, and he leads a program at ODI on European development cooperation. Simon was a director here for 11 years, between 1997 and 2009, and prior to that, he spent 15 years at the Institute of Development Studies at the University of Sussex. And Simon's well experienced in academic and development partnerships, having spent many years overseas working himself, as well as working within academic institutions and think tanks. So we're very lucky to have him here today as our chair. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to him. Thank you.
Wendy, thank you very much. Thank you all very much for coming. I'll stand up just so I can see people at the back to start with. This is a really interesting topic. I'm delighted you've all got this in front of you, I hope, which gives you the link. And I guess this is some clever dick thing with your mobile phone, is it? This thing on the back?
Yes, but I don't know how it works.
It takes you straight to the link. Very good. We're going to hear about the guide, but we're also going to discuss the general issue. So let me just say first what the exam question is. Because for those of you who hang around ODI, as I do, it might come as a surprise to think that there's a problem. ODI, for many years, including under Joe McRae's leadership, has specialised in bringing researchers and practitioners together, not just in the humanitarian field, but more widely. And of course, ODI has worked a lot on the question of when that works and when it doesn't, and what we can do to make it easier. You know, why is it that academics are unable to tell you in 3 bullet points what you should do on Monday morning? Why is it that researchers don't listen when you do tell them? Why is it practitioners don't listen when you do tell them? Is the kind of question that we think about a lot at ODI. And I think the purpose of this exercise that we'll hear more about is how we can solve this problem and also institutionalize a closer relationship between researchers and practitioners. We're going to hear first from Nikki Darendorf on my right, who's a research fellow at the Centre for the International Politics of Conflict, Human Rights and Justice at SOAS. She was a member, along with me and many others, of the Senior Advisory Board to DFID's Humanitarian Review, and she's the Senior Security and Justice Advisor to the UK Stabilisation Unit. So a practitioner, but also somebody with one foot in both camps. Roger Few is a Senior Research Fellow at the School of International Development at UEA in Norwich, and he's been leading work on measuring the impact of aid agency programmes in rapid onset natural disasters, along with Oxfam and some others. And Vivian Weldon from Oxfam, I think, is here somewhere, and will join us for the discussion to talk a little bit more about that case study in particular. Frances Hill is the Executive Director of the Development Studies Association, and therefore someone I've worked with for a long time, but she's also now the Research Partnerships Manager of Enhancing Learning and Research for Humanitarian Assistance. They'll talk about the problem and present the work, and then we have a discussant, Joe McRae, who for many years led the humanitarian work at ODI extremely successfully and is now the humanitarian head of profession at DFID and senior research advisor. And she led something she'll talk about, which is the new DFID strategy for humanitarian research and innovation. The ground rules are that we are on the record. We're being beamed worldwide. Questions will come in, I'm told, from around the world on the iPad. The speakers have been asked to speak relatively briefly to give us plenty of time for discussion. When we do come to the discussion, I'll ask you not just to ask questions, but to say something interesting and contribute to our conversation. There will be a record of the meeting, I imagine, afterwards, and there will be a video and audio on the ODI website. So just remember that before you say something excessively outrageous. Nikki, would you like to say something excessively outrageous? That would be really good.
I can do my
and
best.
You can kick us off.